Best of r/entitled parents episode 49. Disclaimer. No offense was meant to actual sperm donation children. Though was meant to be perceived as an inactive member of my life. Dear, over time, I have received the messages that you have sent to me through my mother. She has often gone against my wishes and responded to you with information concerning my life that I do not feel that you deserve to know, as you are not a part of my life. After the last past message of Daddy loves you, I feel as though it is time for me to respond to you for the first, only, and last time to give you closure as well as clarity. Firstly, you were only a father to my brother and I when it was convenient for you. You made it very clear that you did not like children, not even your own, and especially my brother. There was never a time that I felt comfortable coming to you about any of my feelings or issues, as you would normally shut me down with a complete lack of concern. You were cold and loving, and never showed any compassion. I can remember maybe once that you attended any of the football games that I performed at. My mother was there helping out at the concession stands, painting the banner for the parade, and helping in any possible way she could before she moved out. You were supposed to take over her responsibilities then, of which you did not. There were years that my best friend's mother financed band trips, stockings, and shoes for me. My band director paid for my uniform in order for me to be on the flag team because you never assisted with my extracurricular activities, which happened to be very important to me. There were too many horribly uncomfortable instances within your home that have scarred me. A daughter should never see her father's penis as much as I did as a child, teenager, or adult. The first time was around Christmas. I was about 6 or 7, when you came into the living room while brother and I were picking out toys in a catalog and stood naked in front of us both. That was not okay on any level. Oftentimes, I felt like you put it on display, as you would stand in the bathroom naked with the door open after my mother moved out. You drank all the time. I hate the sound of a top being popped on a beer can and never drink so much as a canned Coke because of that sound. You were always gone hanging out with white trash scum like and getting drunk and high when I needed you home spending time with me. As soon as you shut down your shop at 5 o'clock, you were gone. I knew that I could count on you being gone until late night. I spent countless nights at Aunt's house eating hot meals and being around a family in order to get any sort of comfort for my loneliness. When I was in the 3rd grade, you took us to your mistress's home many times and left us in the living room playing Nintendo while you had sex with her in her room. Even then, I knew that something was not right about you going in there with her. You were caught years later with her in my bed. After all you put my mother through concerning that disgusting woman. You let her move into your house, of which I lived in as well. Told me that she had an affair with you for 10 years. At this point, you and my mother had not been divorced that long. For that, you are scum. I have never, and will never trust a man because of your sneaky, heartless actions. I remember you choking my mother right before a funeral. I remember her tears and the red marks on her neck. Why? Because her dogs were urinating on your floor. What was your solution? You have 30 days to get them out, or I will kill them all. I also know about the kittens' heads that you smashed in with your heels instead of bringing them to the pound. What kind of sick monster does such a thing? You. When you came to my graduation, you showed up filthy like it was just another day. Your pants had grease all over them and your shirt was a mess. I was so embarrassed. That day you told me that I was coming to live with you, and I honestly feel that the only reason was because you did not want to pay the extra child support. A family friend took care of me. You never called to check on me. She even helped me get my first car. Do you remember the day that I asked you to help me put the door on my car? You were too busy yet stood and watched me struggle at one point. I'll never forget it. As a child, I was always happiest when we were away from you. Every time you showed up at our doorstep, I was angry. I hated you for always coming around after my mother was doing fine. You were even there through 2 of her marriages, sneaking around like the snake that you are. I'll never forget the crude, inappropriate things that you used to say in front of us. I remember, smoke them hams. I also remember you yelling at my mother about inappropriate things that she let us watch. Hypocritical, to say the least. I will never forget how you always spoke to my mother and how you never showed her any affection or love. I do not have many good memories of you at all. They are too clouded by all of the horrible, inconsiderate, selfish things that you have done. The last time that I saw you, I was in line at Walmart. I turned my back to you and prayed that you did not see me. I cringe at the idea of seeing you in person again, or what I would do if my emotions got the best of me. I want nothing to do with you. I cannot say the same for my brother, nor do I understand why he would ever consider listening to anything you have to say to him after the way you treated him for years. I, for one, cannot wait until your name is permanently removed from mine. I have thought about changing it several times. There are many other instances or reasons that I can give you for not wanting to speak to you or have anything to do with you. But, frankly, I don't have enough paper nor time to waste getting into it. Happy holidays. Thank you. Next. This is my first time posting here after following this subreddit for a while. Here's a little backstory. I am a very small, 4'10", 19-year-old. I dress emo/gothic. All you need to know is on this day I was wearing a vest/hoodie combo that had spikes and roses on it. This happened late last year, about August 2019. I dress a lot more emo/gothic now. M equals entitled mother, NK equals nice kid, me equals your boy. So I was on the bus going to a youth group I go to every Wednesday and Friday. It was about 3:40 p.m. on a Friday when this happened. I hopped on the bus no problem. It was empty as usual. I sat at the front of the bus listening to music on my phone. Everything was fine until the next stop, the stop after the one I got on at. Cue entitled mother and her kid. The kid was around 5. He hopped on the bus before his mother. NK, nice jacket. Me, thank you. The kid then runs down the bus and stands around in the walkway. The mother follows behind her son and notices me at the front as she walks in. She stops, looks at me up and down with a judging look. You shouldn't be on the bus dressed like that. Me, not sure how to respond. What? You'll scare kids dressed like that. Now I babysit for a living and kids love this sort of thing, and I'm probably the least threatening person you will ever see. As I said, I'm super small. I go silent but the M doesn't back off. You should at least sit at the back of the bus where the kids can't see you. Her son starts running amok, running up and down the walkway and laughing. The M hears his laugh. See, you made my child cry because of your jacket. Me, I really didn't. Your son said he likes my jacket. The M still didn't back off. What she said next made me lose my shit. And anyway, that's no way for a young lady to dress. That outfit isn't very ladylike. Me, how dare you fucking tell me how to dress? Don't ever say that I'm not fucking ladylike. You have no right telling me what to wear and not what to wear. Now fuck off. Admittedly, I could have handled this better, but I was pissed off. The M looked dumbfounded, grabbed her kid and got off at the next possible stop. Thank you. Next. First, I would like to note this is not my story. Both parts have been posted on r/entitledkids. Original part 1 and original part 2. This is part 1 and part 2 including all edits. I have fixed some grammar and spelling mistakes I noticed. The OP of this story is you/KiteAlba. Please go and give her a follow. This story all begins last year, when I was a senior in high school. I have a lot of stories about high school, but those are other posts for different days. Strap in, it's a long story. Here's the cast. L. Lisa, B's old friend M. Entitled Mother B. The female dog that hit me M. Mother F. Friend P. Principal BB, B's boyfriend me, silly, but when people say my name, I'll be referred to as Alba, my last name. So for a start, let me describe myself. I'm a Korean/Irish girl, and I have what people call a ballerina's body, but I have strength in my arms and fists primarily. I also have, had after this all went down, semi-curly ginger hair that was down my back. I'm pretty extroverted, so I had many friends in school. And B was one of them when I was a sophomore. But when junior year rolled around, I noticed that B was very toxic. She started to control where we would go in the mall when we hung out, where I sat in the cafeteria during lunch, stuff like that. She also acted like she was superior to other people. Many people didn't like her and complained a lot. So naturally, I started to distance myself from her because, 1. I didn't like that type of behavior and it was annoying, and 2. I didn't want people I met to associate me with her and think that I acted the same way she did. B did not like this. I guess she liked being in control somewhere in a relationship. B didn't have many friends to begin with, so when I started not being her friend, she had nobody to hang out with. During winter break I learned that she started hanging out with BB, this guy in one of my classes. But I didn't care too much because I didn't know him. By the time we came back from winter break, they were making out in that halls. Very touchy-feely with each other. Skip to summer of 2017. I saw B and BB literally everywhere I went. I went to the fair, and they were there too. I once went to the mall to get a custom-made umbrella for my cousin's birthday. I know, weird, but my cousin has a knack for collecting umbrellas, and lo and behold, B walks in, with her boyfriend in tow and walks up to me and says, "Oh hey Alba, didn't know you'd be here." I was very confused. Now, Redditors, what would a 17-year-old girl and her boyfriend want from a custom shop that only sells umbrellas and other winter items in the middle of summer? And I also knew that she wasn't invited to my cousin's birthday because she didn't even know my cousin. By that point I was convinced she was following me around. Senior year swings around, and B starts trying to talk to me again, and I was having none of it, considering the obvious reasons. Then the day before spring break, she said to me, "B, Alba, I've seen that you've been ignoring me, and I really don't appreciate it. I am such a good friend." Me, honestly B, you're really not. You're kinda manipulative. B, how can you say that? I'm really good to you. Me, I beg to differ. Then I walked away. She would shoot daggers at me when I saw her after that, and B was also extremely jealous. When B saw BB talking to a girl, she would walk up to him and say, "How could you cheat on me with this slut?" Friend, who was still semi-friends with B, had BB's story sent to her by B. Basically he posted a story on his Snapchat that said "with the most supportive person in my life" over a picture of him and a girl, and B went nuts. She complained to F that her boyfriend was cheating on her with, who she called that ugly whorebag. Turns out that was his sister. Fast forward to May of 2018, when the crippity crap hit the fan. I was partnered up with BB in my chemistry class that we had together. B learned about this and went berserk. She had the nerve to come up to me and say, "Keep you filthy racist hands off of my boyfriend, slut." Keep in mind, she was completely Caucasian, maybe 2% of any other race, but very white. And I have never been racist towards anyone. Unlike her, she's called my eyes ching chong slits and also called me a drunk ginger. And I'm the racist one. So a week after that happened, BB had to come over to my house to finish the last part of the project. Turns out B was planning to go to the mall with BB that day, but he had to cancel to come to my house. B was steaming. So the next fateful day, I was in class with BB, and we turned in our project. We were talking about what grade we'd think we'd get, when B came in with these big ass scissors. Neither BB or me saw her coming. That day, I was wearing my hair in a low ponytail. At this point, I was growing out my hair. And it was very important to me since I had to shave my head in 8th grade after an accident. I had a hard time reviving my locks, and I was proud. Until then. So, on account of friend, who was also in the class, and B came up behind me, pulled my hair, and cut it to about shoulder length. At first I didn't know what happened, but when my brain had processed my snip sound, I knew what had happened. I whipped my hair around and stood up. And there was B, holding my hair in one hand, and the scissors in the other. Here's the dialogue. Me, "Did you just cut off my hair?" B then dropped my hair on the floor and said, "That what you get for sleeping with the boyfriend, bitch." Then B proceeded to slap me across my face. It didn't hurt, but I was angry. I looked down at B's hand, and it looked like she was getting ready to hit me again. So I did what was necessary and hit her square in the nose. All I hear was a deafening crunch. And her hitting the laminate. Then she started screaming she hit Emmy, ha 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 ha, get her arrested. Next thing I know, I was in the principal's office, explaining what happened and all my previous experiences with B while waiting for my mom to get to the school. I was also very emotional because all my hard work to grow out my hair had been foiled. Principal, so, what you're saying is that B came into the room, cut off your hair and slapped you because you were doing things with B, correct? Me, that's about right. Principal, okay, so how about you wait here for your mother? 10 minutes later my mom walks in and starts getting angry when she sees my hair, because she knows how long it took to grow it all back. The principal quickly briefs the situation to her, and she gets even more heated. Basically, I was suspended for a week. I still don't know why I was suspended, even though I was just defending myself. We were told to come to the school for a meeting with B and her family and all the witnesses the next day. So, the next day we walk in and we are guided to a big conference room with a big rectangular table in it. We were seated directly across from B and M. They were both shooting us dirty looks. Also there was friend BB, another friend of B, and principal. Principal recounts B's side of the story first. She accused me of attacking her with my fists when the principal asked why was my hair cut off. B says that she grabbed scissors and cut off my hair so I would stop. There are many reasons why that makes no sense, such as the fact that when the principal came into the room, she was still laying on the floor from my punch, so there's no way she could have cut my hair off after I punched her. Also, 26 other people told that she attacked me first. Then EM speaks up that wild animal attacked my daughter and broke her nose. She deserves to be in jail. Then my mom spoke up, no, your daughter attacked mine, and cut off her hair. That's not true. My little angel is innocent. Friend, I saw B cut off all of Alba's hair, so that's not true. This is bullshit. You just paid all these people to lie about this. BB, it's true. B attacked Alba first, then Alba defended herself. B, you're supposed to be my boyfriend L and support me. BB, not anymore. I'm breaking up with you. B, what? B then starts bawling her eye holes out, and I was trying to hold in my laughter. So was F. You don't even have any proof that B did anything. L, actually, that's why I'm here. I recorded everything. Turns out B told L what she was doing, and L had enough of B's crap and recorded everything she had done. L then played the video and it clearly displayed my side of the story to a T. This video is doctored to make B look bad. Principal, well everyone and everything says otherwise. Principal then turns to me and asks would you like to press charges against her? Of course I said yes. Principal then reached out to the police and lets me and my mom file a complaint and press charges and stuff. This part is kinda blurry. The Sunday before I get to go back to school, my mom gets a letter in the mail telling me that we're getting sued for $50,000 for assault. We immediately got an attorney and looked into this. EM was accusing me of assault and harassment against B, which is ridiculously untrue. Additional information. I ended up pressing charges for assault and stuff like that, and I'm pretty sure she got 4 months in juvenile detention and community service. She also got expelled from school and she does online now. I didn't want to give her max punishment because I want her to have a chance in life and be able to become a better person and get a job. I was gonna tell you guys what I did against her when we went to court but someone wanted to know. I also found out that the court date is in a week. See you soon. I've been reading the comments and some of you said to countersue, and I've decided to do just that. I just need to gather my case. And if I win, I will 100% do the worm. Part 2. This story was mostly paraphrased because she had to leave for work in half an hour. Me, my mom, B's boyfriend, and friend all went down to the courthouse yesterday at about 11 AM. When we were seated I was getting my defense and my counterclaim against B. I decided that I had a pretty good counterclaim thanks to you strangers. B and EM was glancing at me like I was gonna lose. Refresher for your brains. M is trying to sue me for $50,000, but little does she know, I'm suing for $60,000. Smiling face with horns. So court starts and M states her claim by saying that I broke my daughter's nose on purpose and that I owe her for medical bills, emotional trauma, and B's plastic surgery. They provide that judge with proof that I did. There was a TV in the courtroom and the pictures were displayed there. The pictures were of B's broken nose, but it was clearly photoshopped to make it look worse. She tried to photoshop in more bruises and blood, but she failed miserably. The judge said, Ms. M, are these photos doctored? M, no, not at all. That's what she did to my baby. Then I spoke up and said, Your Honor, this is photoshopped. I have a copy of the actual photo. The look of shock on M's face could have powered an entire city for a couple minutes. Thankfully I had copied the picture when M gave them to me so I could think about what I've done. M tried to intervene and say, "Your Honor, you don't have to look at those, just take my word on it, that one is the doctored one." When the judge looked at my pictures, she asked M, "Why would you bring doctored photos in my courtroom?" M, "They aren't." The judge dismissed the evidence and we moved on. I stated my counterclaim. She caused me emotional pain and physical pain. I showed evidence like the pictures of my hair and stuff like that. Then it was time for the video. When the officer was bringing the TV in for the video to display, M said, "Your Honor, I have suspicions that that video is doctored." Everyone was shocked because she was the one to bring in photoshopped stuff. The judge ignored her. After the judge and the whole courthouse watched the video, the judge said, "This looks too real to be fake." M, "But it is. Trust me. She hit my daughter." Judge, "Don't raise your voice in my courtroom." M, "But B doesn't deserve this. Say good kid and hit no one." M then had to be escorted out the room. B, "I did nothing to Alba. She hit me in the first place." Judge, "But I see you cut her hair and assaulted her first." B, "But she had no valid answer for that. We discussed some other things. It was really boring. The lawyers talked most of the time during this part. Then came the verdict. It's Tuesday now, and I'm up $50,000. The judge decided to go from $60,000 to $50,000, and he thought that B's and M's claim was ridiculous. Rightfully so. M actually lost $60,000 because of the court fees and lawyers, and also my lawsuit. I decided against doing the flop in the courtroom, but I did it when I was home. I think I'm going to use the money to go to NC State, which is the college I wanted to go to ever since I was 13. I took a leap year because I couldn't afford it, so come next August I'll be high school. I'll put the rest away in the bank. Thank you for all the supportive comments. TLDR. Entitled mom tried suing me for assault after her controlling entitled kid assaulted me and cut off my hair. Her plan backfired and I won $50,000 and lost $60,000. Again, I would like to say this is not my story. It is just a repost with the original author's permission. Original part 1 and original part 2 are the original posts. Go and updo those. Thank you. Next. Saw an ATA post which reminded me of this woman. I was a supervisor in a chain of stores in the UK. One night the manager left early and it was me and 2 other staff members until close. A woman, EM, came into the store with a baby and a 3-year-old. She wandered up and down the aisles until finally approaching me at a till. I was covering so my colleague could get her break. Couldn't let the other one cover as she wasn't allowed to leave her section. EM scurried up to me with the pram and 3-year-old in tow and asked if we could let her use the bathroom to change her baby. I apologized and told her we couldn't as our stock is kept back there and it was for employees only. She pleaded to let her use it, saying she was a single mother and really needed to use it. I repeated myself and told her no with an apology and said she could easily go to the McDonald's across the road as they most likely would let her use theirs. She scoffed, saying how the manager always lets her use it, and started wondering about the store again. A few minutes later, I saw her quickly leave the store. I thought thank God, because I could her moaning up and down the aisles. I went back to what I was doing when I started to hear sobbing followed by ear-piercing screaming. I quickly ran to investigate and found the 3-year-old wandering up and down the sections crying for her mummy. I kneeled down, still having an eye on the tills, and tried to calm the kid down. I told her nicely to follow me and took her to the tills. I was furious at EM. Anything could have happened to her innocent little girl. A stranger could have easily left with her and I wouldn't have noticed. No wonder the kid was so upset. I would be too if I was her. A while after, a good 30 to 40 minutes later, EM showed up with the baby and was all smiles. She saw her daughter and started the whole come on time to go crap with her. I stopped EM because I was furious. I told EM directly that we are not babysitters. We are a retail business and I am appalled at the fact she just left her kid here and how anything could have happened to her. Also explaining how upset she was. Instead of getting angry like most EMs, she tried the whole poor me act. She began trying, and failing, to look sad and say how the manager said she said that I was wrong and would look after her daughter and how it wasn't her fault. She continued by saying that I don't understand how hard it is to raise 2 children single-handedly and how at least my manager understood, followed by how she was going to tell her about the mistreatment and get me fired. She then had a smug look on her face as people watched on looking angry at me. I just gave a blunt response back, I'm sorry but my mother had 4 children under the age of 5 and was still able to watch all of yous. She never abandoned us once in a store. I know it's hard raising kids by yourself but abandoning them with strangers is a terrible idea. And as far as your claim that the manager said it was okay, don't lie to my face. He left about 2 hours ago and would never let you do that. My manager was strict. You are talking to the person in charge right now. EM looked pretty shocked. She obviously assumed I was just a girl on the tills. I then told her if she wanted to put in a complaint she can. She said she did, so I gave her all the details with a smile and informed her that an investigation would be held. She looked pleased until I mentioned that part of the investigation would be to review the camera footage. EM looked enraged at that point, grabbed her daughter and left. I told everyone that the show was over and to carry on with what they were doing. She never complained. Edit. It was obvious she had something to eat while she was out. She had crumbs all over her. Thank you. Next. This story is a bit anticlimactic at the end but it's still somewhat amusing. I hope it makes you laugh anyway. In 2012, I lived in the Bronx, NY, and they have these really long buses that are a regular bus with the ass end of another bus attached to the end of it. I liked sitting where the 2 pieces meet. That area is surrounded by something that moves like an accordion and it's kind of fun to sit in. On this day it was pretty crowded with most of the seats filled but there was still room in the aisle. The bus stops to pick up passengers and it's a woman with a little girl around 6/7. I guess I'll refer to them as EM, entitled Mom, and V, for the little girl. You'll see why she's V at the end. When they get on, EM is already deep into a very loud conversation on her phone and paying zero attention to V, who just immediately takes off running down the aisle. EM doesn't even look at where the kid went and just sits down in the only free seat at the front of the bus and continues her phone conversation. V, being a kid, is chock full of way too much energy and starts running up and down the aisle shrieking. A couple of people try to get her to stop and tell her that it's dangerous to run around while the bus is moving. EM is still going off on her phone. As crowded as the bus was, even people in the back of the extended part could hear everything she's saying and she's cursing up a storm. A very polite elderly woman tries to get EM's attention and when she finally does, EM is not happy about the interruption. The elderly woman tells EM that her little girl is running up and down the aisles, but EM is more pissed about being interrupted. So, she ain't bothering nobody. Why don't ya mind your business? And goes back to her conversation telling the person on the phone, got this bitch on here try and tell me what to do with my kid. V, meanwhile, has decided that merely running up and down the aisle isn't enough, so now she starts holding her arms out so she can smack the legs of every person sitting next to the aisle on both sides. Still shrieking but added maniacal laughing to the noise. Now people are getting pissed, with many people telling her to stop it and sit down or go up front and smack her mother if she wants to hit people. EM is still talking on her phone and ignoring everyone. V has way too much energy because she's been doing this for at least 8 minutes without a break. On about the 4th lap of leg smacking, several people start yelling to EM to get off the phone and get her kid. The bus driver finally intervenes and tells EM that he can't have V running up and down the aisle hitting people. It's dangerous and annoying to everyone else. So, EM, still on the phone, stands up and in a deafening roar bellows, Velveeta, get over here and sit your ass down. There is silence. Then everyone starts looking at each other trying to confirm if they heard that name right. Some starting to giggle. I would like to add here, for anyone who lives outside the US or doesn't know what it is, Velveeta is a type of basically synthetic cheese, similar to Cheese Whiz, and is absolutely ridiculous as a child's name. EM sits back down in the seat but has Velveeta stand in the aisle in front of her. A few people loudly comment that she should get up and have Velveeta sit down. As the bus pulls up to a stop, EM roughly grabs her little cheeseboard by the arm and storms off the bus, still on the phone, yelling, "These motherfuckers wanna be all up in my business telling me how to raise my own damn kid." And with that, Velveeta tore off down Prospect Ave, shrieking and smacking into the sunset. Thank you. Next. Original post, https://www.reddit. com/r/entitledParents/comments/dqua/does this mean you have no vegan option /UTM medium equals Android app and UTM source equals share. This is not a usual update and it might get removed. However, there is some good news I want to share. The fundraiser mentioned in the original post was very successful. Approximately 20 euros, 22,000 $, could be raised. Their girl, who was diagnosed with blood cancer, which initially triggered the fundraiser, is now in the final stage of treatment and doing very well. On top of that, 3 potential donors could be identified for bone marrow donation. Concerning the Karen, as this was all voluntary and free food, nobody cared. Thank you, and fuck cancer. Thank you. Next. So first off, I'm on mobile. Now some backstory. My parents had a very ugly divorce and my mother got full custody of my sister, 16, and apparently didn't want me, because she didn't even bring me up in court. So I'm with my dad now. Since my parents got a prenup, my dad kept all his money. We live in a pretty wealthy neighborhood. We're probably the poorest there. Our next door neighbor has a lot of money. We go over for dinner and his son can't stop talking about it. His son, 17, goes to school with my younger sister. So my mother and her are over for dinner a lot. My mother didn't work while they were married, 15 years, so she's not well off financially. My neighbor's son, we'll call him Jack, has taken a very sexual interest in my sister, taking any chance to flex his money and catcall her. So one night, my mother, father, sister and I were at dinner with my neighbor. Not 15 minutes after we arrive, he begins harassing my sister, telling about how hard he wanted to bone her, and making an excessive amount of remarks on her breasts and ass. My mother apparently thought that is Jack and my sister did it. They might get married and my mom would get some of his money. So after dinner, he invited my sister to go upstairs with him. She was reluctant, but he practically forced her up the stairs. I filmed them because I wasn't about to allow a rich asshole rape my sister. So I'm sitting outside his room when I hear a commotion and some yelling. I stand up and my sister run out of his room, with her dress torn across her chest and some down the front, leaving her breasts exposed. She hides behind me calling for my mother and father. I'm at this point ready to actually beat this snob to death. He comes out saying, "What's wrong, girl? I just having a little fun." To which I replied, "Fun's over," and grab him. My parents and Jack's father are upstairs before I can do anything. My father's pissed and puts his jacket on my sister, so she has some cover. He says, "What the fuck is going on here? Did you do this to my little girl?" His father steps in and tells us it's time to leave. So we head out, trying not to make any illegal mistakes. Once we're out, my mother grabs my little sister and says, "What the hell is wrong with you? You could have had it all, but you gave it away, you moron. I think you need to stay at your father's for a little while," and storms to her car and drives off. That was 2 years ago. My little sister is about to graduate high school, and has forgotten about my mother pretty much altogether. I still see Jack at some video game tournaments on my college campus. He avoids me and I avoid him. Sometimes we play in bracket, and he sucks. Every time I take his money, I immediately give it to my sister when I get home. Sort of like a retribution fund from him. He's given her over $2,500 in these past 2 years. Our fathers are still friends and hang out a good amount. TL. Doctor, my sister was almost raped, and was then disowned for not going through with it. My father and this boy's fathers are still friends, and I kick his ass every week at Smash Ultimate tournaments at my university.